A friend of mine called me the other day, a friend I had not seen in many, many years. In fact, she was the bridesmaid at my first wedding. I had not seen her for decades. And through YouTube and the wonders of Facebook and stuff, she found me and tracked me down. And she called me because she has been going through some challenges in her life, some darkness, and she feels that the spiritual path she's currently on is not giving her the support and wisdom that she needed. And I guess she has some idea of what we're up to here, so she thought she'd call me and ask for some wisdom, some advice, some friendship. Her life wasn't feeling very dark, and she was looking for some light. When I knew her, back when we were teenagers, I think they went to a United Church, but I know her father was a deacon and her mom was in the women's auxiliary. And she had an older brother who I dated very briefly. He became a born-again Christian and started calling me Joe Heathen, so that kind of put an end to that. And when she had told him about this time in her life, this kind of darkness in her life, he responded by handing her a pamphlet from his church. And that pamphlet told her that we would have to account to God for every sin, including our thoughts. And the pamphlet had a picture of a man sitting in a pew with that thought bubble up there, wondering how the football game was going. And another picture of a man looking at a woman and thinking to himself, what a pretty girl. And God is watching these sinful thoughts. And if God isn't pleased with our life story, God would actually, and I can't believe I'm hearing this in this day and age, but God would actually cast us into a lake of fire for all eternity. That didn't exactly give her the light that she needed in her life. So she was kind of concerned because she'd had worse thoughts than that. Way worse, haven't we all? Is there anybody who has never thought anything worse than wondering what the football game's like? So she wanted to know how I could stay so up, so happy, so healthy, and apparently youthful and joyful and all that good stuff. Because we are getting older, and those of you in this room who may be getting older, doesn't it make you think a little bit more about, what's it all about and what's going to happen to me when I meet God and all that stuff? So she wanted to know, just what do I believe? So did I believe in evil, she asked. Do I believe in the devil, punishment from God, salvation, forgiveness, confession, atonement, faith, healing, all of that? She wanted to know what I thought about all of it. And she asked, what did I think about energy healing? All sorts of energy healing, theta healing, hands-on, touch of, whatever it is, something touch, healing touch, Reiki, all of that. And she knows that we sometimes sponsor those kinds of talks, and that sometimes they're controversial material that some people just love, and they, stick to it and abide by it, and other people think it's all nonsense and poo-poo. And when she wanted to know, what did I think about alternative healings? And I realized that she was asking me that because she had received a medical diagnosis and she was scared. So she was, again, looking for some light. What I told her is that I don't disbelieve any of it. All of it is true for some people and not true for other people. And the reason it's true for some people is because they believe it's true. And the reason it's not true for other people is they believe it's not true. And I believe that whatever you believe becomes true for you. And indeed, isn't that the very basics of the unity teaching? That our thoughts and our beliefs are creative. That's the power of our mind. The mind is creator. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and there was nothing else. In the beginning was the Word and God. So God is creator, and God had nothing except God with which to create. Therefore, all of creation is of God, by God, made in the image and likeness of God. You, me, my friend, that's what we are, is we are God's stuff, right here, right where we are. And the Word is with us, the creative Word, powerful creative Word, infinitely powerful, that word is. Whoops. Suddenly I had something on my screen that wasn't supposed to be there. So our words and our beliefs, that's our faith. You know, you've heard the phrase faith to move mountains. How do you look at that? I mean, some people may look at it literally, as though if I really, really believed enough, I could literally move Mount Benson someplace else. And other people just dismiss it completely. And other people say, let's look at this as a metaphor and have it be a lesson. I'm going to get to metaphors again later. Oh my goodness. So back to my friend. Carol was her name. She wanted to know, do I believe that illness is a punishment from God? And will God answer healing prayer? So again, some people's truth is that if we ask God in just the right way, with just the right words, and repent enough and promise enough, God might heal us. Or if we ask for that through the name of Jesus or Mother Mary or somebody else, or some saints, something else besides us is going to heal us. Other people will say, no, absolutely, strictly scientific, mechanical, what's proven in the laboratory, that's the only thing that heals us. And again, I say, do you believe that prayer can heal? In that case, prayer can heal you. If you believe that prayer cannot heal you, prayer cannot heal you. But it isn't the prayer, it's the belief that's the key. And the belief is in here, right? In here. It comes from us. So we're the reason that prayer can heal. We're the reason that prescriptions, surgery, all that stuff can heal, because we believe in it and give the validity to it and create a reality for ourselves. It's the belief, the faith that comes from you that gives all that power. So you're all aware of the placebo effect, I'm sure. Placebos work sometimes. Placebos don't work sometimes. And they're always double-blind tested against a prescription, a pharmaceutical, right? And that medication works sometimes. And that medication doesn't work sometimes. And the difference is whether or not it's believed in, by not only the person taking it, by the person prescribing it, by the mass culture. How much of that belief has been created by our own individuals, and how much can we change it and control it? So not all prescriptions work for everybody, but they work for somebody. If we could invest a fraction of what we spend on developing new drugs in studying and harnessing the placebo effect, where would we be, right? Now, I'm not saying stop taking your medications, and I'm not saying don't hire a doctor. And I use that word hire on purpose, because your doctor is your employee, not your boss. You hire the doctor to advise you, but you make the decisions, right? Because we're all on this journey of learning. And whether we're talking about learning to play the piano or learning something about science or learning a new language, we all have to start with the tools we've got, which is where we are so far. So we don't expect a kid in grade 1 to be able to do grade 10 algebra, although some of them can. And we don't expect a person just beginning to learn about the power of their mind to instantly cure cancer. But some of them have, you know. Why is that? Why are those things happening that we can't explain? What are we expecting? All of our scientifically proven remedies don't work sometimes, right? We see stuff outside of us that heals us. But it's not. It's how we receive that stuff. Those things act through our permission, through our belief that they will heal us. So consider the scientifically proven in the laboratory fact that smoking causes lung cancer. No question about that, right? Well, then how come everybody who smokes doesn't get lung cancer? There's a doubt. Some people don't believe it. They doubt that theory and they ignore it. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. But our disbelief is as powerful as our belief is. Our doubt is as powerful as our belief. You all know that when you get a paper cut, it's going to heal itself, right? But we all know, and we all believe, that a cut of a certain size can't heal itself. Needs help. Needs stitches, right? Needs to be bandaged up and tightened up. But I ask you, where is that for you? Cut of 1/4 of an inch, no problem. What about a 1/2 inch? An inch? 2 inches? Where is that dividing line between what the body can actually do and what we think the body can actually do? It might be a little bit flexible, right? So where did our beliefs about that come from? So if I have a belief, say 1.5 inches is maximum, where did that belief come from? Came from where all our beliefs came, most of mine from my mom. But, beliefs come from our parents, our teachers, our government, our media, our religions. Do you think your parents or the government ever gave you a belief that turned out not to be true? Mm-hmm. How about your religion? Mm-hmm. I had a friend in high school. She was a track athlete, and we were at practice after school one day, and we were the last two out on the track. And she was a hurdler, and she wanted to have one more go at it. She wanted to take a nice long run and build up steam and have a go at this hurdle that had been challenging her. So she did that, and she went down. She tripped on the hurdle and got it all tangled up in her legs. And I saw her go down, and I said to myself, this is not good. And her leg was kind of a little bit of an odd angle, and she was all scraped from here. You know how the skin's off, and there's that oozy, bloody stuff, and all the cinders embedded in it and stuff. So I ran over to her, and she said, "Leave me." And I said, "What?" Well, I wasn't going to go away and leave her, so I went a few feet away, and I sat down, and I left her. And for about 20 minutes, I could see her breathing consistently. Deep breaths was the only thing in her body that moved. She was absolutely still. And about 20 minutes later, she got up, she brushed the cinders off her leg, and there was no evidence of any injury. My friend was a Christian Scientist, and she had been taught since birth, from her very first owie, that what you do is you get still, and you breathe, and you remember the power within to heal. How far can we take that, right? She was turning within to the light within. And that's the secret of the avatars of Jesus. That's what they could do. They could go within and let their light shine. Connect with the power that they knew was within them. And remember the power of the body to heal. The power of their minds to create. Our minds can create unimaginable things into our actually, they can't. They can only create what we can imagine into our reality. But anything we can imagine, we can create. We can imagine and believe, and we always do create what we believe. I've had a strange experience lately. I don't know whether you've had this feeling. Do you ever feel like you could just kind of let go and slip into insanity? You know what I mean? I think you do, don't you? That you're just on the point of losing it, you know? I could just let all this go. But you know you have choice, right? And so you're sort of, am I depressed or am I just feeling sad today? You know, which do you choose? And am I willing to go there? You know, sometimes think that there would be a great reward to slipping into insanity. Think of all the things you wouldn't have to worry about, things you wouldn't have to get done, you know. And every time I experience an ache or a pain or a little cramp or anything, especially in my torso or my abdomen, you know what I think, don't you? This could be cancer. Anybody has never said that to myself? This could be cancer. And then I choose to let the thought go. Let there be light. I released the fear thought because we all know that when we attach emotion to thought, that empowers it. And it's almost like it must manifest the more emotion we put into it. So there's always choice. Just choose, just say so. I know that seems like a monumental quantum leap to say, well, it's really that simple. But it is. It is that simple. It's hard, but it's simple. Just say so. We can believe this stuff so far, and then we seem to run up against a limit. There's something that feels beyond our control. We've reached the limit of our power, but that is actually the limit of our belief. And the belief is up to you. How do we get past the belief? By reminding ourselves that the power is not outside. The power is not God, it's not doctors, it's not karma, it's not genes, it's not disease, it's not anything out there. This is where the power is. There is a power in the universe that is greater than we are, right? And the universe itself is in here. Everything is happening, well, in here, right? We are creating it all. Ultimately, our minds are creation machines. Now, sometimes when we talk about beliefs creating our reality, some people get pissed with us because they think we're criticizing or blaming them for being sick, for causing their own sickness or injury. No, please no, that is our biggest error possibility. It's not blaming you, it's being responsible. And there's a huge difference between being blamed and being responsible. Blaming is destructive. It really is. Taking responsibility is empowering. It's empowering because I realize that I create my experience of life. If I can create, then I can also uncreate and recreate. So there's power in knowing that. If we can get past who, not me, it's not my fault. You know, that little cartoon used to be always, not me, I didn't do it. Let there be light, you can create. But also remember that you are totally responsible for yourself, but only yourself. Nobody else can take responsibility for your stuff, and you can't force anybody else to take responsibility for their stuff. So don't even try. Don't even try. You can't force anybody else to be loving, to be kind. You can't. They are who they are, and they're at the stage where they're at, and they'll get where they're going when they get there. You can only show them. Only show them. Can't make them see the light. So no, I said to my friend, God does not punish us. Our every action carries within itself its own punishment or reward. It's often not obvious at the time, but that I do believe. And please release and reject this idea of God as punisher. You know, yes, you can read the Bible if you want to and find horror stories that tell God orders people to murder their own children. You can find that. But to think that the Bible could be taken literally instead of as a metaphor, allegory, or a teaching opportunity is a huge mistake. All of our stories, our fairy tales, our movies, they're all allegories, right? Metaphors and teaching opportunities. There's no Darth Vader. There's no Luke Skywalker. There's no Harry Potter. There's no Snow White. And there's no romantic handsome prince. And possibly there's no Jesus. Yeah, well, maybe there's. You know, even possibly many scholars now believe that what we call Jesus is actually a compilation of mostly Egyptian teachings that are all about stories of demonstrations of what could happen from our actions. But it doesn't matter, really. Hold the Bible how you want. But they're all different ways of shining a light on our pathways of truth. And every faith path is a legitimate way of learning, if you hold it properly, mostly metaphor and allegories. So that's the truth that sets us free. That's the light within. And that's what I told my friend. All of that. It was a long conversation. So may my friend Carol and all humankind be filled with the light of truth.